Pecha Kucha 245, Three Brothers Duel Lu Bu. So I had an idea this week to do something very simple and see where it went. And no sooner had I put pen to paper where the idea got lost in the process. And so I ended up doing what I did. Oh dear. So the week started with me opening Manga Studio, and Manga Studio, Clip Studio, Paint took me to their free assets page, where not all the assets are free, so it's their asset page. And there was a load of stuff I could have downloaded that I wouldn't use, but it's nice to know it's there, because experimentation can wield wonderful results. I should go back. So I did start the week trying to, get something going with this manga page, the Fist of the North Star thing. I think my Ray is getting a little bit more Ray-like, thanks to me doing some reference work on the side. But I'm kind of thinking, he's got to have these particular hands, and I'm not really wanting to draw them. So I go on to the bottom panel that's got Mamiya, Bat and Lin in it, and I just want to completely redraw it from scratch, just to make sure everything's where it should be. And then I kind of just tap out because it's like a kill switch in my head. While I was working on that, I was listening to Chris from Comic Tropes doing a live stream inking a picture of Red Sonja. At some point, I'd like to do art live streams. I think it's great. I think he had a great room, but he did have production issues. His internet went down halfway through the stream. I imagine the same thing will happen to me, so that's something I have to be prepared for. And I did also watch him talk about India's first superhero, where the comic book shamelessly used other people's intellectual property without a motherfuck given, which I find... I seem to think that is the way to do things, but never mind that. I also watched a dude make a meme video about a trillion lions versus the sun, and he solved it with science. If I ever do give up on art, this is the kind of stupid shit I will do, and I'm consciously aware of that. But he put a lot of work into this 7-minute video that had no purpose. It was entertaining, though. So, what was my idea? To draw really big, like a silhouette kind of thing, and then zoom in with an increasingly smaller brush and do more detail work. So the idea is at the start it's composition, then it becomes like figures, then it turns into details and textures and stuff like that. And the idea is I don't move on to the next step until I'm comfortable with the previous one. But here I am on the second step, and I mean, you've seen the title card, it's a fight scene between, well, 3 people, and then there's a 4th guy in the background. Liu Bei, center right, not quite involved. The composition is complicated and not really working. There's a lot of foreshortening going on, and I feel like one of the things that I really need to pay attention to is my hands, because they're kind of important. So this is it color coded, just to make sure it's absolutely clear what I'm trying to do. Lu Bu is trying to stab Guan Yu in the face. He's dodged to the left. Zhang Fei is trying to stab Lu Bu in the face, and Lu Bu has caught the spear and pushed it away from his face. Liu Bei is on his way to save the day. As I'm doing iterative improvements layer by layer, I'm trying to kind of tighten up everything. The foreshortening, the scale. I felt like Zhang Fei's not really there. Guan Yu could do with a bit more screen presence as well, so to speak. As well as, me needing to kind of get facial expressions to be bold and to, make everything, a little bit more referenced, a little bit less of a mess. And I feel I can definitely see I'm moving in the right direction as I move forward, just trying to figure these things out with my chalk brush and my brain. And I got this idea that Guan Yu should not be dodging the halberd. He should be stopping it from like stabbing him in the chest. And that's maybe more of a reason why he's not swinging his halberd back at Lu Bu. Also, Zhang Fei's kind of in the way, and he's not wearing his armor today, so he might get hurt. The more detail I add, especially to Lu Bu with the armor, because I actually found some quite decent Chinese military armor reference on Google. Just by Googling Lu Bu, you get all the Dynasty Warrior stuff, and then you get some stuff that's not half bad. Actually, old Lu Bu stuff's pretty good from Dynasty Warriors 1. So effectively, at this point, I'm adding details while still conceptually trying to determine elements. So now I'm giving Guan Yu like a pauldron on his shoulder, some kind of dragon thing, because he has that in Dynasty Warriors, and it is cool. Or I've given him the idea of one, because, details are not forthcoming. So this is the composition as it stands so far. I might have to move Zhang Fei around a little bit. I might, everything is still a little bit up in the air. So either I double down on this, or I kind of, and this is the dragon, I kind of do more iterative repositioning of the characters to make the composition stronger, which was supposed to be determined at the start, wasn't it? But I've kind of already started doing detail without being entirely convinced that I've got what I want. So, Zhang Fei's stabbing at Lu Bu, their hands, the spear, the positioning of Lu Bu's upper torso, some of the armored decals, what's going on with Zhang Fei's feet, what's going on with Guan Yu's left hand relative to him trying to stop Lu Bu stabbing him. These are the core things that I think I need to focus on before I decide if I want to go full reference, hardcore serious, or just maybe call it a day. SackClown of the month. John Cena apologizes to China, allegedly for calling Taiwan a country. I only found out he did this yesterday. He did this a couple of weeks ago. Basically, John Cena's in Fast and Furious movies. China's a major market. The Chinese government does not represent Taiwan as a country, basically as a result of World War II and the fallout of it. No, not World War II, sorry. A Chinese civil war. We're not talking about Israel and Palestine. So, John Cena has apologized to China. He hasn't explicitly stated why, and he's got heat with some of the Chinese people for not actually apologizing, while getting heat with some Americans for apologizing over most of the international community doesn't openly acknowledge Taiwan as a country because China refuses to do business with people who acknowledge Taiwan as a country. So really, John Cena, a former professional wrestler, is in trouble for breaking kayfabe in the real world and saying something true, such as wrestling isn't real, to people that you shouldn't say it publicly. And he shouldn't have acknowledged Taiwan as a country, even though he was conducting an interview with someone in Taiwan. It's a complicated, ridiculous situation, and if I ever had respect for John Cena, which I didn't because I only ever knew him as a meme, I'd have lost some. Although I do think the Stephen Colbert show's version of his apology is fucking hilarious, and if John Cena had done that, I'd give him props. Not that this has anything to do with anything, but goddamn, I learned about Taiwan this week. So there. Alright, that brings us to the end of Pecha Kucha 245. If you want to know more about this, Google John Cena and China, Google Taiwan, Wikipedia them. That's where I learned most of this stuff from. And I'll see you next week.